2022 Ford Maverick build-in price. So this is your build-in price to help you get the right Maverick for you. And of course, I will cover which Maverick I think is the best buy for the money, and of course, why. So welcome to Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. I'm your host, Johnny, and your co-host, Winston. Well, he's run off, but he'll be here possibly jumping into the show. So anyways, I just want to put the pedal to the metal, get right to it this week, jump right in. We're going to be building and pricing your Ford Maverick. So of course, we'll cover, which models kind of give you what, and then we'll just jump right in to the XLT build-in price. But if you were to go with an XL, now I'll be occasionally looking down because I'm going to be working off of, what's basically going to be passing on your right here, or your left, my right. I'll be building it and you'll be able to see it get built the whole time. So this really should help you be able to get on the website, build the correct Maverick to your liking, and make sure you've got the right price. Whether you're looking at a purchase or a lease or a cash purchase, let's make sure you get the right price. So if you are looking at an XL, that starts at $19,995. But please do keep in mind that that's without, the transport and handling, whatever you might want to call it. All manufacturers are going to be adding $1,000 to the price that they advertise. Now, but here's the thing, that's with a 2.5 liter hybrid engine. And do keep in mind that, I was watching, Tim Bart's got the confirmation that's good until November 15th. And that makes total sense because Ford in late October, around the 22nd, I believe it was the 22nd of October, Ford said that the hybrid would be sold out for the 2022 model year sometime in early November. Now, it looks like we have until the 15th. So if November 15th hasn't passed yet when you're watching this, go straight to your dealer Monday, because I'm filming this on a Sunday. It's the family day. So I've got, your co-host Winston here in the office with us. But do keep in mind that that hybrid will be sold out. So very soon, or when you're watching this, you're going to be forced the choice of an EcoBoost, which is not a bad choice to be forced. Almost as fuel efficient on the highway as the hybrid model. So if you're doing 80% highway or more, EcoBoost hybrid, not a huge difference, about 3 miles per gallon. It's in town where there's a big difference, because in town with the hybrid, you should be expecting to get somewhere between 40 or maybe even, miracle case, 50 up to 50 miles per gallon. I think most people are going to be getting about 43, 44 miles per gallon with the hybrid in the city. Whereas you're definitely not going to be getting that with the EcoBoost. I'll post the numbers for the EcoBoost because off the top of my head, I remember it's about probably 8 to 10 liters per 100 kilometers in the city with the EcoBoost, depending how you drive it. But I'll put the miles per gallon and I'll review all that. So what are you getting with an XL? You're actually getting a whole lot. Now, of course, you do get those steelies, as they call them. They're steel rims. So some people are going to love it. Some people aren't going to love it. But what can you do? That's beauty's in the eye of the beholder. But an XL Maverick does come incredibly equipped. But don't be fooled. It does not come with cruise control. And adding cruise control at a later date might be simple. But for now, no aftermarket company has made the cruise control available. So when you do go with the XL with an EcoBoost, you're at $21,080. Don't forget, we've got $2,000 to add on that. So the EcoBoost engine costs you basically $1,100. But do keep in mind, that's an incredible engine with 250 horsepower and 200 and on most models, it makes 280 pound-feet of torque. I believe on the Maverick, from recollection, it's 277 pound-feet of torque. But for those of you that, that doesn't mean a whole lot because you haven't driven, a ton of vehicles, what I can say, I have driven it, of course, and you can check out my drive videos of the Maverick. But with a 3,700 pound vehicle, 250 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque at a low RPM, that's revolutions per minute of the engine, make for a very fun drive. This thing is very peppy. It takes off, it's quick, it's more than you would ever need in a truck. We're not buying a drag car, it's not a sports car, but still it accelerates very quickly. It's a barrel of laughs, I'd say. So just do recall that when you go with the XL, you're getting 6 bed tie downs in the box, a very usable box. You know, you can put the tailgate down at 45 degrees and have 8 feet of, sheet, plywood, or, whatever you might need. You can get 8 feet in there with the tailgate at the 45 degree position because there's little wire cables to hook them up. So very, very useful bed. Now, every single model gets that 8-inch touchscreen on the center stack. It's good, but do keep in mind it won't have Sync 3. All its functionality is going to run off of your phone, but you can have your navigation, your Waze, GPS, Google Maps, whatever it may be that you're comfortable using. That will get sent over to the screen, but do keep in mind that is a wired transfer. You will need your original wire. You can't have, any wire doing that for you. Now, other important things to point out about the XL and really all Mavericks. They all have automatic high beams. That means when you're driving at night, your high beams are going to be turned on and off automatically. So that's really fantastic. Your day and night lights, they're also automatic. You'll have pre-collision assist with automatic emergency braking. So that means that the vehicle can brake up to 38 kilometers on its own if it does detect an accident. And actually, I was driving the Bronco just the other day, and the alert on it let me know that I was dangerously close to a parked car on the side, and I was focusing on the vehicle in the left lane that was far too on my side. So that is very good technology to keep you safe. You've got post-impact braking. What post-impact braking on all models means is that if you have a contact with another vehicle, and let's say you're to lose, you lose consciousness, you pass out, you get knocked out. Well, if it didn't have this technology, the vehicle would just keep rolling. But no, the vehicle will apply the brakes on its own. So braking after an impact. You got the rear view camera on every single model. You've got, you've got lane departure warning and lane keeping aid as optional on XL, XLT, and Lariat. You get that with the Co-Pilot 360 package that we'll see in a moment. But remember, that's lane keeping. That means the aid comes on when you start to leave the line. Lane centering is only available on Lariat Luxury Package. Same thing for evasive steering, and rear parking sensors also optional on the Lariat. Now, Bliss with cross traffic alert. So you got your blind spot detection on the side, and when you're backing up, an alarm comes on if someone's coming your way. That is Co-Pilot 360 technology for all the models. But what I'm trying to say here is the XL is an incredible price, and really the only area you want to not get, fooled on is thinking that it has cruise control. So that's been really something to point out all along the way. However, the one I would build and the one I've ordered is an XLT. You're looking at an XL, you're at $21,080. You're looking at an XLT, you're looking at about $1,200 more. But for $1,200, you're getting some pretty interesting stuff. First of all, you get those nice mags. So if you are looking for a vehicle with a mag, if you would have bought aftermarket mags, they would have been close to this bump up in price anyways. You're getting the cubby storage in the bed as well as the 10 tie downs in the bed. So the bed's a little more usable. More tie downs. Of course, the 17-inch painted aluminum wheels. I like aluminum wheels because they're lighter weight. They don't rust. You can drive them in the winter and not have to worry about the finish peeling all off of them because of rusting. You're also getting the navy pure interior. And I've touched these. I've sat in them. I've driven them. The Mavericks. Then again, my favorite color is blue, but I absolutely love the navy pure interior. And that's another point where I feel that going from XL to XLT is worth it, because while the seats are the same level of comfort, I just feel it adds a little bit of style to the interior. And actually for me, it adds a whole lot of style because, I'm all about the blue colored vehicles. You also have the orange accents. So that's what you're getting more. Let's start our build on this XLT. You know, first of all, you're gonna have to look at colors. If you go black, just keep in mind black looks great clean, but if you're anywhere near a dirt road or just dirty roads, black doesn't stay black very long. You know, during pine trees are gonna just cover it with their yellow green pollen. It's a gorgeous color, but you got to be really careful also when you're washing it to make sure that your wash mitt doesn't have, you know, one little piece of sand or dirt or grit in it, and that you just kind of swirl mark your whole vehicle. I've got videos on that, and I think I've owned about 8 black vehicles, and at the end of owning each and every single one, I always say, this has got to be my last black vehicle. This is way too much upkeep, and it's tough to keep clean. White, well, that's on the opposite end of the spectrum. Little scratches in your clear coat will not show when you have a white Maverick. So that's called Oxford white. You've got Alto blue. There's a charge of $390 for that, but it is a really nice looking color. It's not like the antimatter blue that we've seen on the F-150 and the Bronco, which looks black. You know, anytime the sun's not hitting it, it looks absolutely black. This color from a distance doesn't look black. It does look dark blue. So, you know, Ford, good job with, you know, modifying that antimatter blue. The Alto blue looks amazing. Now we move on to Area 51. That's the color we ordered our hybrid Maverick. It's a sharp color. It's new to the scene, so we wanted a color that, you know, has been publicized a lot by Ford. We think this color will have good resale value. Now, of course, it will be easy to maintain. It's got some flash to it without being tough to maintain like black or, you know, any other dark color. Now, cactus gray, we've got, I really like cactus gray. I've got no problems with it. That's no charge to it. Some people love it, some people hate it. You've got carbonized gray. Everyone seems to be pretty neutral about this color. One of the most popular colors at Ford. I believe it's in the top 3 across pretty much every model. You've got cyber orange. And I just want to point out that cyber orange, while it's called orange, it is school bus colored. And as long as you're not parked by a school bus, it's a pretty cool looking color. It's very yellow. I have pictures of an FX4 from an event I did where I got to test drive these vehicles, sit in them, you know, pretty much touch everything I wanted on the Maverick. And while I didn't have a whole lot of time, I did get to really get my hands on it. And the yellow in person is very nice, but let's not fake it and expect to get an orange colored vehicle. It looks very yellow. You've got hot pepper red tinted clear coat metallic, the longest name for a color in automobile history, possibly. It's just a joke. It's $390, and it's grown on me at first. I didn't have a particular fondness to it, but when you see it in person, it's pretty sharp. You've got also iconic silver, and no charge to that, and velocity blue. Velocity blue, heck, I had a 2011 F-150 with that color on it, EcoBoost. Almost got it to 300,000 kilometers before selling it. It's a nice color, by the way, EcoBoost technology. If I'm not worried about the reliability, it's overall a very reliable engine, but keep in mind, any turboed engine, you want to do good quality regular oil changes with a high quality oil, ideally the one that Ford recommends. And please don't cheap out on the oil filter. If you do, as soon as you put on a cheap oil filter, basically how it works is that your turbo is going to become the second oil filter, meaning all the little particulates from the motor that would normally, if you normally use a cheap oil filter, just end up back in the engine. They end up sort of scratching up your cylinder wall and robbing you of power. And not only does that rob you of power, it also robs you of fuel economy. But your engine doesn't break. Mind you, over a long period of time of accumulation of metal flake on the motor, on the turbo, because your turbo could end up being a second oil filter. Well, that can cause you problems with the reliability of your turbo, causing, increased pressure, in which case your gasket of the turbo could start leaking oil, or the scroll itself could just pop off and do all sorts of damage. So your EcoBoost engine is almost certainly going to be very reliable if you use good quality oil and good really good oil filters. Use the ones that Ford suggests. Don't try to cheap out and pick up something that only costs a few dollars. So then again, the XLT, let's not forget, I didn't mention it before, but you're getting the painted gray grille bar. Of course, the interior we already mentioned, the power exterior side view mirrors, the power locking tailgate. And here's another thing. For the $1,100 difference, or whatever it was, from $21,080 to $23,365. I've got to correct what I said before. It's not $1,100. It's about $2,200. I think it's worth it when you consider, your power exterior side view mirrors and the power locking tailgate, because really, let's say you get a cover on your Maverick, which I do suggest you order from your parts department at your local dealer as opposed to putting it on your order, just to avoid the possibility that your order, when they basically look at your timestamp and when you ordered and they say, oh, well, Maverick number 55,000, it's his or her turn. They go to pull it and they go, oh, well, we don't have the bed cover. We don't have this or that accessory for it. Well, too bad. They're not going to build your Maverick if they don't have every single part for it. So that means you get passed by and they'll pick someone else who actually ordered after you. And they'll grab that one, and the factory's got to build Mavericks. So the factory can't close down or go on pause while they wait for, your accessory to come in. So you're better off to just get those accessories from the parts department. But the power locking tailgate, when you've got a cover on your bed, imagine the difference between remembering to go to your bed and physically locking, or just with your nice little key fob, you press the lock button and you lock your tailgate with the doors. I think that is just a lot safer in regards to, theft. It's a lot easier. We always say, oh, I won't forget, or, I won't crack my cell phone screen. But, today I cracked my cell phone screen because I was filming birds outside for my Nature Action channel, and I cracked the screen. So not great. You're also, of course, getting cruise control on that XLT. Another reason why you'll want to very well consider paying the extra, going from $21,080 to $23,365. That's another reason to go with the XLT, is the cruise control. I know Marie's going to appreciate that, even though 80% of her driving is in the city. Now, you're also getting, the 10 pickup box tie downs. You're going to want to consider getting Ford Copilot 360. I know, I've said it before, and I agree with people in the comments section. We all, need to remember how to drive and stay focused on the road. But there are a lot of distractions. I hope no one's playing with their cell phone while driving, because that's possibly more of a distraction than, having 2 glasses of wine at dinner at the restaurant and then driving. It's very dangerous to be using your cell phone. But Copilot 360 anyways. What are you getting? You're getting Bliss with cross traffic alert. That means when you're backing up, if there's a vehicle coming, it's going to warn you. It's going to make quite the noise, and it will save you an accident. Even though, we say, we should all pay more attention, that's not even a question of paying attention. Just the other day I was backing up. I looked right, nothing. I looked left, nothing. So 2 seconds have gone by. I start backing up. Well, someone was speeding through the parking lot, and I would have been probably clipped. And I wasn't, because I heard that alarm go off. I stopped backing up and just in time saved myself an accident. Now you're also getting lane keeping system. Remember, that's just about keeping you, as you start to go over those painted lines, it will either vibrate the steering wheel or help bring you back, or do both. You get to choose that in the options, or you can also turn it off if you don't want that. And on the XL, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, getting Copilot 360 on the XL does give you the power mirrors on the XLT. As we just mentioned, you already have the power mirrors. So that's that, and it's $540. I think that's a really good value. Now, the XLT luxury package, $2,345. You got to consider, if you are paying cash, that's a lot of money. If you're going to lease this, well, do consider you're probably only going to pay roughly the half of that plus the taxes on it. So over 48-month lease, let's say $1,400. roughly. That's not a whole lot per month. On a 72-month purchase, if you are going to be purchasing it, well, you might consider that's not a whole lot of money either. But what do you get? Is it worth the money? Well, for many, I think it really will be worth the money because you're getting an 8-way driver's seat. So that means your driver's seat, it's going to go back, forward, up, down. Of course, you've got the back, which is going to be angled. You'll be able to play with the angle on that. And you do get the air cushion for your back. Now, for someone, I have a bad back. It's really bad. It always seems to be for about a month or two every year. Really bad, but I always have back pain. And I do find getting the cushion to give me some lower back pressure really does help. So for any of you who have a bad back, or if you're just, a little older and you need to get that just perfect position to not have problems for your back, that alone will make this package worth it. It's important to be comfortable when we drive. You're also getting the 400 watt or 110 volt inverter. So that means the cab outlet with USB in rear console, plus you get a bed outlet. So that 400 watt, that's cool. You're getting 400 watts accessible in the bed. Very cool. Maybe run an electric drill off that. I can't really think of anything else. And you can throw it in the comments. Let me know, what will you use your 400 watt outlet for? You're also getting bed tie down locking rails with 2 locking brackets. Very useful when you're tying things down in the bed. So if you're going to be using the bed, this luxury package is looking pretty good. Now this says right here, bed liner spray-in, but that was for back in October. As of sometime in very early November, they switched that to the hard drop-in liner. So that's the plastic liner. Both have their advantages and disadvantages. I personally like the plastic bed liner quite a bit for how easy it is to get ice out of it because, well, it's plastic. So getting ice out, getting stains out, getting spills out, heck, you drop paint. If it dries, you'll scrape it off, or you'll just, add some paint thinner or gasoline, and you can work it with the plastic bed liner. But I do warn you, if you've got a little bit of snow in your bed, don't move quickly. It's slippery, which is kind of cool because if you do have, gyps or plywood or whatever it may be, heck, a pool statue, like I did on my 2011 EcoBoost, I would have never gotten that pool statue out if it was Line-X because the statue was just too heavy. So I needed to slide it out. Now, because I had a plastic bed liner, that slid out real easy. And speaking of easy things for your bed, I've been asked, what's my favorite bed cover? My favorite bed cover is actually a rollable bed cover. I like the rollable ones because they look good. And secondly, I like how you don't lose any bed. The foldable ones, you're either gonna, leave it open for the last third, which means you're gonna lose about this much bed, or some models are gonna go right up against the window. And that window, there's not a whole lot of window. It's gonna completely cut out your vision. And, people mention, but Hyundai, the Santa Cruz, has that rollable hard cover. Yeah, it is cool, but you definitely lose bed because it rolls into a little casing. And the casing, I call it little, but it's not that little. You're losing bed space. So I prefer the rollable material or kind of fake leather because it's just gonna make a little roll that's gonna go up against your window. You're not gonna lose any bed. You're gonna lose next to no vision. So very good stuff right there. But that's accessory talk. We'll have to save that for another video. Let's just jump to the fact that the XLT luxury package also gives you heated mirror with body color skull caps. Personally, I don't care that the gets body colored skull caps. It does look a little bit better, but I really do like the heated mirrors. I think they are unbelievably useful. You're also getting heated seats, so that's going to make a whole lot of people happy. Furthermore, beyond the heated seats, something I love because it's like putting your hands into a really warm pair of gloves, you get the leather wrapped heated steering wheel. And I can tell you the leather wrapped heated steering wheel will heat really well. You're gonna feel it, and you're even gonna feel it across your gloves. So if you're wearing winter gloves, especially if you're wearing, more like business gloves or work gloves that are thinner, they're not your big skidooing off-roading mittens or gloves. But if you're wearing like a normal glove you would wear to work, either for construction or, just a business office job, a good looking leather glove, It's going to heat through your gloves. So very useful. You're getting LED box lighting. Semi-useful, I guess, if you're working at night and winter's coming, so there's not a night is basically at 4:35 p.m. So that will be useful at least during the winter season. And you get your trailer hitch with 4-pin connector. But don't get fooled. You can't go off and pull 4,000 pounds because you have an EcoBoost and a luxury pack. This 4-pin connector allows you to pull 2,000 pounds. And the reason for that, the reason it's not 4,000 pounds, well, 3 reasons. The 4,000 pound towing requires 4K. You get a 7-pin connector, meaning that it's gonna run brakes on your trailer. And if you do go over 2,000 pounds, I do highly recommend you have a trailer that has its own brakes that will be controlled by that 7-pin connector. Now, the reason I highly recommend that is because the truck itself weighs 3,700 pounds, 36 something, 3,700 pounds. Now imagine you have more weight behind you than the truck itself. Well, of course, if you don't have brakes on that trailer, you're likely to have that trailer kind of pushing you around, bullying you on the road. Now it does have trailer sway control, so the Ford tech is going to work really hard to keep that trailer in a straight line and the truck in a straight line. But heck, the trailer is going to weigh more than you, so highly recommend you have brakes on your trailer. Now the other thing, this luxury package with the 4-pin connector, you don't have the bigger radiator, you don't have the bigger cooling fan, and you don't have a transmission oil cooler. So your transmission's going to get hot, hotter than it should, and your motor is going to get hotter than it should. So don't think just because you have 250 horsepower and almost 200 pound-feet of torque that with this 4-pin, you know, some people will think, my motor can handle it. Yes, your motor has plenty of power. It can definitely pull the 4,000 pounds, but it can't handle the heat, and neither can your transmission because it's not equipped for it. So that's all I'll say about that. Let's move right along. You're also going to get the windshield wiper de-icer. So a windshield wiper de-icer is basically, from my understanding, that's your windshield wiper. It's kind of, you can picture it as a heated windshield wiper. So it'll just, when you've got that block of ice at the bottom of your windshield, if you remote start your vehicle, or if you use Ford Pass, which is free for every single XL, every single Maverick, even the XL all the way to the Lariat, for free, you download Ford Pass. You create yourself an account. Well, from there on in, you can be brushing your teeth in the morning or having your nice morning coffee. Pick up your phone and you can start your vehicle. So that's really cool. And with the windshield wiper de-icer, if you do have that block of ice, well, your wipers are going to start, heating through that block of ice. So you won't be banging on it to get it off. It should be ready for you when you get there. So let's say whether you end up taking Ford Copilot with FX4 or XLT luxury package, I'm going to take some of these options to give us, a half equipped XLT to really give us an idea of price. So let's say we go with Ford Copilot 360. Let's add FX4 as soon as we can. All these options I'm scrolling through, I do suggest you get from your parts department. And spray in bed liner, keep in mind your dealer will help you find someone, or you can find someone that will do the spray in bed liner for you if you don't get luxury package coming with the plastic bed liner. Plastic bed liner is worth about just under $400. But all these options, get them from your parts department. Unless you're really in no hurry to get your Maverick, then get everything from the factory and that's just fine. Now we head down, we see that the interior here, that's your navy pear interior. It looks really sharp in person. Unless you hate blue. If you're a blue hater, you're not gonna like this. But if you like the color blue, it's really cool. Blue and gray mixed together. The interior, I've got full, reviews on just the interior, so I'm not gonna say much about it. But what I can say is I absolutely love it. It's comfortable. The seats are very comfortable. I could do an 8-hour drive in them. And yes, the whole interior is plastic, but it's good looking plastic. It's textured plastic. They put little lines in it. Then they'll have other plastic that actually has carpet fiber into the side doors, making it so it's not just, a gray, boring plastic. It's got these little fibers, making it look really neat. And also that's great, you know, they're not just dumping. Ford is working very hard to use up every waste material that the factory creates. They want to reuse it. And actually Ford reuses 1.2 billion water bottles per year. So there's definitely recycled plastic in this vehicle. But great looking interior, even though it's plastic. So let's just slide right down. Passing the AM FM radio with 6 speakers. I've got to say, if you're a complete, if you're absolutely, you live for music, you might not, this might not cut it. Now, I listen to music all weekend long. If I'm at home and I'm not doing a video, if it's family time, we're all listening to music. We love music. We have a great sound system, a big, huge stereo system. Cost a pretty penny, and we feel it's worth it because we love music. And just the same, I feel the Maverick 6-speaker sound system is good enough for me. It's a good sound system. And if ever I felt like it was missing just a little bit, which I don't, but I could always just switch 2 of the, the 2 biggest speakers and put in high quality speakers, just swap them out. If not, well, you can always go with the Bang & Olufsen on the Lariat, but I don't want to get a Lariat just for a sound system when I find the XLT, standard sound system to be good. So of course, if we want to add FX4, we got to go with that 2-liter EcoBoost engine. And, we've got to add all-wheel drive if we want to tow 4,000 pounds. Let's say we want to tow 4,000 pounds. Let's give us an idea of a medium equipped, your average XLT. What is that going to cost us? Now, I'll have to go back to the top because once you add all-wheel drive, which should have been, the 2-liter EcoBoost should have been added at the beginning, and this is something you got to keep an eye on. You're on the site, you saw at the beginning we had the 2-liter EcoBoost picked, at least I thought I did, and either way, I've noticed this before. Sometimes you'll pick something on the first screen and it won't load in. So you've got to watch your options. Otherwise, you might go to the dealer thinking the vehicle is much less expensive than it actually is. And ideally, I'm doing all this so that when you do go to the dealer, you do know you have the information, so you're ready to order, and you also have the right price. So they won't take you for a run. You can tell them, hey, I'm willing to pay MSRP, and that's just the way it is. And you can let them know you want to do business with them, but you've got to pay MSRP. Otherwise, there's people that, will do MSRP on orders. I believe, there's Tim Bart's, there's, if you're in the States, of course, there's Mitch from Town & Country. But let's add the 4K tow package. So we've got 4K tow package, all-wheel drive, and Copilot 360. So it's similar in price as if we would have just gone with an XLT all-wheel drive and thrown on FX4. Now let's just see what kind of price this gives us. So we can call this your average priced XLT. Okay, so just keep in mind we did add all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive costs $2,000. The 2-liter turbo is about $1,000 or $1,100. So in all, to have all-wheel drive and the 2-liter EcoBoost engine together, added to an XLT, we added $3,305. And we also added Copilot for $560 and the FX4 package for $750, I believe, if I recall correctly. And I'm actually going to turn off, to make this an average priced, a mid-priced XLT, I'm going to remove the 4K towing. So let's go remove 4K. Actually, no, this is perfect. We've got 4K towing and Ford Copilot 360. So we've got an average, a medium priced XLT. At any time, you can go up and hit the calculator. So at the top right, you've got a little calculator button. You can hit that at any time, and this is where you can play around with your price to make sure you get the right price. So you can take off the cash if you want. I don't see here, it's certainly not a requirement to put a cash down on a lease. And I'd say a cash down on a lease is, I wouldn't put a cash down on a lease, because if you get your Maverick totaled or stolen and you've put, let's say, $10,000 on that lease, your amount owing at, any time you want to either sell it it gets stolen or it gets accidented, you put 10,000 cash in the lease, your amount owing does not go down by 10,000. That $10,000 gets used to make every single month's payment less expensive. So don't be fooled. This is really important. You're on a lease, you put cash down, it makes your monthly payments cost less. And if you sell it, gets stolen, or it gets wrecked, it gets totaled, your amount owing does not take into account that $10,000 because it got spread out through your 24, 36, 48, or 60 month lease. So essentially, whatever you have used of that $10,000 or $5,000 to make your payment less, if you're at 10 months, well, and you're on 60 months and you've put down 10,000, well, the amount that it saved you per month will have been used up, but the amount that's left to be used is gone with the wind. You lose it unless you have a special type of insurance that you're paying extra for to cover it. It's gone. It's gone. So not like on a purchase. So if you do, let's say, lease this, I recommend highly, no cash down. And you're looking at a 36-month lease, you're going to be looking at $387 as a payment. If you're looking at 39, you're looking at $381, and a 48-month lease, you're looking at $412. Keep in mind, this is certainly without tax. Don't be fooled. The website automatically puts you in no taxes, and you actually have to click, down here, view lease details. If you want to add the taxes, normally you'll find it here as an option, but maybe not for every area code. So anytime you want to go back, you go to adjust your options, and then you go back to the screen where you can choose, you hit the finance button, you hit finance, and then you can see with 0 down payment. And here on a purchase, if you do put a down payment, let's say you add $10,000 down, your $10,000 is, it's safe because it lowers your amount owing. So if you go to sell it, it gets wrecked, it gets stolen, well, your amount owing that your insurance company, they're going to write a check for, a Maverick. And well, your amount owing will be less. So that can save you some trouble. But anyways, long story short, lease, I recommend you don't put cash down. Finance, I don't see a danger in it. You put 10,000 down, it makes a huge difference on your payment. But you know what else makes a huge difference on your payment? It's not paying 5.9. 5.9 financing on 84 months is a bit much. Hopefully that your dealer can get you a little bit better than that. And another way to get better in a lower interest rate is just to pay it quicker. So $440 per month on a 75 month purchase, 72 months, you're at 3.9. And you see, don't be fooled here. Don't go with 75 thinking you're getting a much better price because interest makes a huge difference. On 75 months, you're at 4.9 interest and you're going to pay $440. Pay an extra $3, you save 1% in interest. And that's why there's only a $3 difference. It's $443 because you see right there the effect of interest. And if you can pay it on 5 years, well, then it's unbelievably interesting. The credit from Ford is going to run you at 1.9%. That is a fantastic interest rate, and that would be my preferred mode of purchase. Pay $496, and if possible, if $496 per month bothers you, 1.9% interest certainly shouldn't bother you. But you can hopefully put down, let's say, $5,000 and get it down to $409 per month. I think that's a nice monthly payment. And if we go to 48 months, it's 0.9 interest. That's incredible. I don't recall having that interest rate available here in Canada. Otherwise, instead of leasing, I'd probably jump on the purchase. 0.9% is an incredible finance rate, but with 0 down, $602. So hopefully maybe you have a trade worth $5,000 or you have $5,000 cash, making 48 months, $496, much more affordable. Now keep in mind, we did add some options and we added the 4K, all-wheel drive. We added about $4,000 of options. So if you want just a straight XLT, whether you want an XLT with luxury package, we basically come down to this price with about a $700 or $800 difference. That's why I call this the average XLT build. And let's say you don't take anything at all and you just want a quick idea of what the price is going to be. Well, remove $4,000 from, if you want to pay it on 60 months, just do 4,000 divided by 60 and you'll see how much less per month roughly that you'll be paying. And hopefully we've done this together well enough that you're really comfortable going and building your own Maverick on the website, playing around with all the options and finding the perfect Maverick versus price for you. I certainly believe I've covered, at least most of the, don't be fooled situations. So I think you're safe to go and build it up and order it up. So I really do hope this has helped. If so, please like and subscribe. It helps not just feed a poodle, but it helps dress a poodle. This guy over here, your co-host, gets awfully cold, so we had to buy him winter clothing, and even clothing inside the house because he tends to shiver otherwise. Thank you so much, and in the meantime, I do hope you get to put the pedal to the metal, and I wish you all more cars and more power. I'm going to get on to my family day because I filmed this on a Sunday, which is our family day. So it's sunny out, and I'm going to go, spend some time closing everything up outside and time with the family, and I hope you get to do so as well. Take care.